Welcome to another, to be honest, slightly shorter episode, for me anyway, of Monday Movie Pickup. Alright, so honestly, like I said, kind of a shorter episode. Right away, we have here, this is Hudson Hawk. Honestly, I don't know much about this movie other than it's a weird comedy that I want to say that there's actually some like musical bits in this. A movie that's very famous for apparently being bad, but a lot of Bruce Willis fans have praised it as like an underrated Bruce Willis, gem, because he does so many different techniques in this movie that aren't really present in his other films. This is a Mill Creek release, which used the cool VHS slipcover, which, that was a thing for a while. Other studios are doing it, so then Mill Creek slapped it on a bunch of their movies that they have the rights to release, but movies that a lot of people haven't really heard of. So, like a lot of Mill Creek releases, doesn't look like this has any special features. But I am interested in the film. I do want to check it out, see what it's all about. Hudson Hawk. I also have here King Creole. So this is another Elvis movie. I have other Elvis movies in my collection, and this is actually the second release from the Paramount Presents line, which, besides the fact that they make really cool slipcovers, they often have some awesome special features. Well, it seems anyway. They've been kind of hit and miss, depending on how much they actually jack it up with special features or not. Some of the releases have a bunch of new stuff, like the Almost Famous release had another version of the film that hasn't been released on Blu-ray before, the theatrical cut. But here it looks like they just have a scene selection based on the songs and a filmmaker focus from Leonard Maltin. So not a bunch of stuff, but like I said, some of them have some good special features, some of them are a little lesser, but still, you're getting something out of it when a lot of these releases are typically bare bones. So, good on Paramount to be doing something with these movies, especially some of these have only been released on Blu-ray for the first time. I think this is actually one of the releases that's only been, released now. It's never been on Blu-ray before. So like I said, I'll grab it here because I do have Fatal Attraction. Like I said in the previous episode, I am starting to kind of get these releases now. Because I like them. I like what Paramount's been doing. I really like that Paramount's getting back into the Blu-ray game. At this point in the Blu-ray saga, the fact that we're kind of more on the tail end of Blu-ray's journey, it's cool that we're still getting some really notable releases from a main studio, not just something from Shout Factory or Kino or from Arrow. It's kind of cool that Paramount themselves are doing something about some of their films that need better Blu-ray releases. However, the third release they did was To Catch a Thief, which I already own, and from what it sounds like, the 2012, I'll grab it right here, this 2012 DVD apparently is a better transfer of the film than what was released recently with the Paramount Presents line. So I will be purchasing it. I will be seeing the comparisons. I believe they did a 4K transfer for it, whereas this one wasn't necessarily a 4K transfer. It was a higher quality transfer, but from what people have been saying, the 4K transfer they did for the Paramount Presents line is not as impressive as this 2012 DVD Blu-ray. So it might be worth holding on to this one while also purchasing the new one, which, like a lot of people said online, it really is just a double dip. But I gotta complete the line now. I have to keep it going before I am an addict. I have a bunch of Shout Factory, Shout Select editions, which I've given crap to Shout Select in the past. I buy them because there's some of these movies that I want to own, but I've said that I've had some confusion about what the Shout Select series is when compared to the other releases they do, because they have collector's editions, they have straight up normal releases of Blu-rays, and then they have anniversary releases, and then they start doing Shout Select, which, what is the difference? Why do we have to have a whole line of films that are numbered, similar to Criterion, as you can see here? Why do we need to do that when, what's so different about these releases compared to others? I mean, and they seem to go all over the place because some of them are 2 discs, some of them aren't. Some of them have a lot of special features, some of them don't. They're actually quite similar to the Paramount Presents line, where it's just kind of a random grab bag of, well, here it is, and we're just going to slap a number on it. But I gotta say, I did find out recently, because I'm just an idiot, they actually say right at the top of the Blu-ray what it's all about. Designed with the film lover in mind, Shout Select shines a light on films that deserve a spot on your shelf. From acknowledged classics to cult favorites to unheralded gems, Shout Select celebrates the best in filmmaking, giving these movies the love and attention they deserve. Which, again, you know, how is that making any different from other Shout Select? Or other Shout releases that they do that are just collector's editions. I get that they have a whole horror line that's called Scream Factory, but their normal releases, they still have other films that are just collector's editions. Sometimes even the Shout Select films are collector's editions. I don't know. The branding is still a little confusing to me, but at least that kind of gives you a better idea of what they're doing. It's cult favorites, it's acknowledged classics, it's unheralded gems. So it's just a mix of different films that basically haven't gotten a Blu-ray release yet, and that they want a number because they want to compete with Criterion. Here we have Earthquake. So this is a very famous disaster film, which honestly I know nothing about, but this might be a good double feature to watch with Towering Inferno, because I own that film as well, and I've never watched it, so maybe that'll be a good chance to finally watch these both. And what's nice about this is a 2-disc release, and it has the TV edit of the film, which is apparently even longer than the theatrical cut, so that's very cool. I do have Explorers here. I did already flip it over on the inside to have the original poster. The Earthquake set doesn't have a reverse slip inside of it, but this release does have a reverse slip. And it's got new special features on it. It's another Joe Dante film. I recently got Small Soldiers. So it's nice to start kind of collecting the rest of the Joe Dante films, because I am a Joe Dante fan, and this is a film of his I've never actually gotten a chance to watch. I've heard sort of mixed reviews of it. Some people say it's a classic, it's a childhood classic, but a lot of people also say that the third act is very disappointing for what the film is building up to. I have here The Wizard, which actually previously, I don't know if I can grab it from here, I previously owned this on the 10 Family Favorites DVD release, which has The Wizard. It also has Joe Dante's Matinee, which I also got on Blu-ray recently, but a bunch of other movies that don't really have Blu-ray releases, and I don't know if they ever will. I have seen The Wizard before. This is just like one of the most popular 80s/90s movies ever. I know it came out in 89, but it very much is like the early 90s. Like, this is like a time capsule of what the early 90s were gonna be like, and a big tribute to the unreleased Super Mario Bros. 3, which is, I don't know, like, looking back, it's very much of its time, but it's also it's kind of cool to watch because it's so, like, within its time period to a point where I've never seen it. Like, it's totally just a promotional movie. That's all it is. It's like, it's a big promotion for the Mario Brothers. That's all it's for. But yet they actually tried to make this movie something. They tried to make it like a heartwarming story, yet you can't look past the commercialism. But now watching it in hindsight, where it's like a time capsule of commercialism, it's almost kind of like an interesting artifact to go watch. This does have a documentary on it for The Road to California. I am very excited to give that a watch because, like I said, I am fascinated by this movie. It's not a good movie, but it's a fascinating movie. I have here Little Big League, which I don't know if a lot of people have heard about this movie. I did own it on DVD, though. I owned this movie on DVD because it's actually about this kid becomes the new owner of the Minnesota Twins. It's about the Minnesota Twins. I have to own it. Minnesota Twins, I guess, like, in 94 would have been kind of a big deal because they did win 2 World Series pretty close to one another, in 87 and in 91. Since then, they haven't really made any big mark in the baseball community, but they got a movie made about them, so that's cool. I'd like to kind of see how it was broken down that they decided to choose the Twins. Maybe they were like the easiest to get, or maybe it was because of the recent World Series wins. Who knows? But not a ton of special features on here, but they do have interviews with some of the actors. So gotta say, it's. I mean, I like owning it on Blu-ray now. I never thought that DVD was gonna get a Blu-ray release, but it's like I said, it's kind of a forgotten movie for the most part. And then I have here The Pianist, which has been on the top of IMDb's top 250 list for many years. It's, I think, the only movie in the top 50 that I have not seen. There's quite a few movies from the top 250 that I haven't seen, But as far as the top 50, which has gone pretty much unchanged the last 10 years, like there's been a couple things that moved around and new movies have popped up, but for the most part, it's remained the same. I actually have seen all of the movies except for this one. And I didn't really have a way to see it for a long time, but then I got this Shout Select release, so I figured why not, I'll finally watch it. These are the films I got this week. There's not too many, but I wanted to get these on the shelf. Didn't want to hold off doing the episode until next week, so that's what I have, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what I should be buying out there. I hear Make Mine Music and Melody Time is hitting Blu-ray on Disney Movie Club. I'm really close, following that story very closely, so hopefully that's true. I would love to complete that collection. I would love to finish that Disney movie collection. See you next time.
Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive blogs and videos, and for just $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.